Come to think of it, I don't know. Because my skin is brown, my blood is red, and my heart is gold. I think I might be human, but that's not what I'm told. See, I'm told that I look Mexican or maybe Latin when I'm cold and my skin is paler. But I don't get offended by it, because it's really not anything new. It just makes me think about what we assume to be true. When you predetermine who a person is just by their appearance, you limit the possibilities of all the things that they can do, and it just saddens me.
Amen.
All the potential that's lost by kids my age just trying to fit in a box. Walled off by stereotypes, most are eventually caught in a cycle of trying to live up to what's taught in the environment that surrounds them. So what can we do to combat it? Well, we the people need to start making a habit of not judging people by the way that they look and letting them live their lives like a story in the page of a book. We are individuals, but our subconscious leaves equality shook. We need to start seeing people as people, far more than just looks. My name is Raymond Lee. I'm a senior at Grand Rapids Learning Center, and welcome to Kidspeak 2017 Colorblind.
Hello, I'm Natalie Price, president of the Grand Rapids Mayor's Youth Council and a senior at City High Middle School.
Hello, my name is Daniel Caracheo, and I'm a senior at City High Middle School and a member of the Grand Rapids Mayor's Youth Council and the chair of the Kidspeak subcommittee. We will be your MCs for today's event. Today's proceedings are being streamed live on the City of Grand Rapids website, and we have GRCC taping today's events, which will be aired on the Grand Rapids Public Schools Cable Channel 27.
In the next 2 hours, you will hear a variety of opinions about race and equity from nearly 30 people. Their perspectives will be heartfelt. They will be candid. They will be honest. So get ready. So often when people talk about race, they forget to include us. They forget that one day we'll be those registered voters showing up at the voting polls. Therefore, today, we are going to inform our decision makers about ways we can all make Grand Rapids a city where all people can have opportunities and feel welcomed and celebrated for who they are. In some communities, race is often silenced. It is one of the main things on a group's mind, as stereotypes are made in the first few seconds of meeting someone. In my school community, the reminders of race are everywhere. It is not often talked about, but it is noticeable just about everywhere. I am fortunate enough to have been exposed to a high school that is diversified and not simply singled down to one particular race. The diversity that I am a part of is what makes my community so special, and I believe it is something that should be recognized and celebrated more in other places. Equity matters in my community, and it matters to me that it is needed everywhere, not just in school environments. Speaking up about race is more than just an option. It is a necessity and should be something no one should shy away from. If you are feeling prejudiced or discriminated against because of your race, talk about it. It makes all the difference if you are deeply passionate about openly talking about your race. It can speak volumes. So I encourage each and every one of you to speak up. Make the difference in your school, home, or work that we need to hear. Make it known that you fight for equity. That's the focus of Kidspeak this year. Kidspeak is an annual forum created by Michigan's children and facilitated throughout Michigan. In Grand Rapids, this forum is facilitated by the Mayor's Youth Council. We are a group of high school teens who live in the city of Grand Rapids. As council members, we meet with Mayor Bliss monthly to discuss issues facing our youth today. We also learn about our community and the role city government plays in our lives.
And speaking of the Mayor's Youth Council, I want to give a special shout out to my fellow council members. They are working hard to ensure that this event is a success. So for those of you who are in the room and not elsewhere, please stand and be recognized. By now, everyone should have this year's Kidspeak keepsake. These bracelets are manufactured by Public Thread. Public Thread is a local textile manufacturing company. Public Thread believes that, quote, what we make and wear on our body matters, and yes, it does. As a symbol of unity, please put on your bracelets today if you haven't already. Good. All right. Now raise up your bracelets high to the sky. Looking good. Looking good, everyone. Thank you for your support.
All right, now please welcome Mayor Rosalind Bliss. Mayor Bliss is serving her second year in her first term of office. Mayor Bliss has been a champion of connecting children to nature, small businesses, and advancing racial equity. Please welcome Mayor Bliss as she says some opening remarks and introduces the listening panel.
So good afternoon, all right, wait, it's still morning. Good morning, everyone. So first, I want to say what an unbelievable privilege and honor it is for me as mayor to work with the amazing group of students that I have as a part of my Mayor's Youth Council. So Daniel, Natalie, thank you so much. I'm really the one that should be thanking you because not only for all the work that you and your peers and the members of Mayor's Youth Council, all the energy and time that went into planning today, but for the time that I get to spend with you, you all help me do a better job, so thank you. I also want to take a moment to thank all the leaders who are here with us today, who took time out of their day to come and listen, because today is about listening, so that we as leaders can do our jobs better. So I want to start by having the listening panel introduce themselves. I'll ask them to be brief, so please share your name and your role. And then I'll turn it over to Matt with Michigan's Children to say a few words, and then we'll get on with the program today. So why don't we start at this end, and we'll just go up here first, and then to the back rows, and then to the front rows. And you're welcome to stand if you want, or just sit.
Good morning. My name is Malika Brown. I am the Director of Equity and Inclusion for the Grand Rapids Public Schools.
And good morning and welcome as well. My name is Ruth Kelly, and I serve the 2nd Ward in the City of Grand Rapids on the City Commission.
Good morning. My name is Betsy Melton, and I am on the Kent County Board of Commissioners, District 13, which happens to be Kentwood. Just a little plug, because you talked about diversity. We are been recognized as the #1 most diverse school district in the state of Michigan. So I wholeheartedly am excited to be here to listen to what you have to say.
Good morning. I am Adam Erber with State Senator Dave Hildenbrand's office, and Senator Hildenbrand has the honor of representing the city of Grand Rapids in the Michigan Senate.
Buenos dias and good morning. I am Lupe Ramos Montini, and I have to say first that I'm a proud retired teacher of the Grand Rapids Public Schools. Second, I want to tell you that I am a proud member of the State Board of Education. Now I serve you in that capacity. And I am also very proud to be the chairperson of the Committee to Honor Cesar Chavez, and we work towards empowering you with scholarships. Thank you for being here.
Good morning, I'm Wendy Falb. I have had the privilege of serving on the Grand Rapids Public School Board for 8 years now, and I'm currently serving as president, and I love this event. I'm so grateful for all the students who prepare and are willing to come forward and share their voice and perspective.
Good morning, I'm Matt Gillard. I'm the president and CEO of Michigan's Children.
Good morning, I'm Clee Jackson. I'm here representing 2 organizations today. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan, I'm responsible for the community and civic relations for West Michigan, and also I'm the president of the Greater Grand Rapids NAACP, and a proud graduate of Ottawa Hills High School.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Ron Gorman, Assistant Superintendent of Pre-K-12 Instructional Support for the Grand Rapids Public Schools.
Good morning, Lamont Cole, Director of Strategic Initiatives and Education at Your Grand Rapids Urban League, and I serve as Clee's 3rd Vice President of Your Greater Grand Rapids NAACP.
Hi, I'm Lynn Heemstra, Executive Director of Our Community's Children, and also a graduate of Ottawa Hills High School.
Hello, I'm Greg Sundstrom, City Manager for the great city of Grand Rapids. And I'm John Helmholt, Head of Communications and External Affairs for Grand Rapids Public Schools and a proud Union High School graduate.
And on this side, I'm John Globensky, the Grand Rapids City Treasurer.
I'm Mary Beth. Is this on? I don't know. I'm Mary Beth Jelks. I'm the Human Resource Director for the City of Grand Rapids, and I do all the hiring.
Go ahead. Good morning. I'm also wearing two hats. I am the co-founder with Mindy and two other women for the Latina Network of West Michigan. I work here in City Hall as the assistant to the city manager, who you met earlier, and I'm a proud GRPS parent.
Good morning, everybody. David Marquardt, Director of Grand Rapids Parks and Recreation. Welcome.
Hi, I'm Mindy Sassi, and I serve as Executive Director of The Source and one of the co-founders of Latina Network. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Jen Schottke. I'm the Director of Workforce Development with the Associated Builders and Contractors, and I also have the absolute honor of serving all of you Grand Rapids Public Schools students here as the Secretary of your Board of Education, also proud parent of 2 GRPS students.
Good morning. My name is Sonia Hernandez, and I am also wearing 2 hats. I am here representing the Hispanic Latino Commission of Michigan as a governor-appointed commissioner, as well as GRCC, where I serve as an adjunct instructor, and I currently teach a CLS 100 course at Ottawa Hills High School. And today we do have a few students who will be speaking, and I'm very excited to hear their testimony and all of yours as well.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kelsey Perdue. I'm program manager for Grand Circus, a local company that teaches people how to code. I also serve as co-chair of Equity PAC, a local political action committee focused around equity issues. What's funny is just over 10 years ago, I was a Kidspeak participant. I was a member of the Mayor's Youth Council a little bit over 10 years ago, and I'm a proud City High alum as well. Woohoo!
Good morning. I am Patty Cottle. I am the Diversity and Inclusion Manager for the City of Grand Rapids.
Buen día, Roberto Torres, Director del Centro Hispano de Western Michigan, the Executive Director of the Hispanic Center of Western Michigan, Roberto Torres, and I look forward to hearing the young people speak.
All right, thank you, Mayor Bliss, and thank you, listening panelists, for your role in today's forum. One of our partners for Kidspeak is Michigan's Children. Michigan's Children is a statewide organization that advocates for the needs of children. Michigan's Children created Kidspeak and facilitates these forums around the state. Please welcome Matt Gillard, President and CEO of Michigan's Children, as he gives some remarks.
Thank you, Natalie. I'd like to thank all of you for coming today, especially thank the young people who are participating, and thank the Mayor's Youth Council, Mayor Bliss, and the City of Grand Rapids, and Lynn and our community's children for putting this event together. Michigan's Children is a nonprofit child policy and advocacy organization focused on the pursuit of public policy in the best interest of children from cradle to career. We are based out of Lansing, but work throughout the state. In furtherance of that goal of better public policy for kids, we feel it's critically important for policymakers and decision makers to hear directly from young people themselves about the issues that they're facing in their communities, about solutions to some of those issues, in order to really open the eyes and the ears of these policymakers and these important people in our state, so that we can really all strive together for what we want to see happen to really truly make Michigan a great place to be a kid and a great place to raise a family. So these events are one of the best things that we get to do all year long. I particularly look forward for this event every year in Grand Rapids, and I'm really looking forward to it today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gillard. Now, I would like to introduce you to Ms. Lynn Hiemstra, Executive Director at Our Community's Children. Our Community's Children, OCC, is a partnership between the City of Grand Rapids and the Grand Rapids Public Schools and community partners. It's an organization that advocates for innovative initiatives and programs to better prepare young people for college, work, and life. Please welcome Lynn Hiemstra.
Thank you so much, Daniel. Thank you, Mayor Bliss, for your support. And Matthew, we have really been partners for a long time in getting this event off the ground. I think 17 years now it's been. It's one of my favorite events of the year. Our community's children exist to ensure that the lives of children in the city are improved. And part of that is that we want to see young people active and engaged and having a voice in matters that concern them. I want to thank the Mayor's Youth Council for tackling this incredibly important issue of our time. And I want to thank all those adults in the audience who have supported these young people in their dreams and in their hopes for the future. And then to all the young people in the audience, you are the hope of the next generation. You will help change the course of the narrative in our community. Certainly, the racial disparities that exist are unacceptable. We need a lot to do to change the course, and we need each and every one of you to have a voice. We hope that you will speak loudly and clearly now and in the years to come, and that you will make a difference. What you did last year in terms of talking about parks and recreation in Kidspeak, not only did you influence the Parks and Recreation Plan this year, but that event went national. And so you also influenced other cities around the country. So your words today will definitely make a difference. Thank you so much for your leadership.
Our theme for Kidspeak this year, race and equity, came after reflecting on recent events. From the rise of the Black Lives Matter movement to attention police officers across the nation have gained either as bullies with a gun or victims of the actions of incompetent colleagues. This problem goes as far as xenophobic statements said by the highest level government officials who wish to return to a time when America was not great. But the truly terrifying thing is that this topic goes as deep as issues our local government faces, from gentrification on Wealthy Street, Franklin, Division Avenue, and many other countless nameless communities that have been silenced by these actions. So today, let's make our voices heard. So, what does it mean? How does it feel? And or what are the benefits of being a person of my race? Well, Mexican food is the best food. Second only to Daddy Pete's barbecue. Taco Bell, get out of here. Tacos de Cañada is where it's at.
Love that kid.
But in all seriousness, it's an interesting question. Because it wasn't until recently that I gained a sense of cultural identity. Before, I was just a bookworm with overworked parents, not by choice, of course. So we never really had much time to get in touch with our traditions. So in short, I was basic, yo. But lately, from my job as a photographer and having more freedom to move around, I've had the chance to see the inner spectrum of West Michigan, beyond race, but culture, the heartfelt passion of African communities, the deep traditions of Native American people at Grand Valley University, the Grand Rapids Polish Festival and Pulaski Parade, and of course, the strong sense of family and community I've witnessed from the amazing Mexican celebrations I've worked at, and from the hard work of the Hispanic Center and the Cesar Chavez Committee, as they work to open as many doors of opportunity to the people of Grand Rapids. We are more than a color, more than a culture. We are a story, and the friends we make, the traditions we share, and the love our family gives are the words in our story. So let's get this started.
Our youth speakers today were asked to answer one of the following questions we developed. Number 1, why is it important to talk about race? What tips can you give other young people on helping them talk about race? 2, what does it mean, how does it feel, and/or what are the benefits to being a person of your race? Give examples. When was the first time you realized you were a person of your race? Share a real-life story. In what ways can adults and youth celebrate the accomplishments made by a race? Is Grand Rapids split into separate cities because of race? Why or why not? What can elected officials do to decrease racial discrimination where you live and/or where go to school? What creative policies or programs could help eliminate racial discrimination? In what ways should the city and the schools ensure that all children are successful regardless of race? Are race and poverty related? If so, how? If not, why not? Have you ever felt discriminated against, unwelcomed, targeted, isolated, etc. in Grand Rapids because of your race? How did this make you feel? What did you need from parents, teachers, and after-school leaders to succeed in the multiracial world in which we live? And why isn't the world colorblind? Should it be? All right, we're going to have our first speaker come up. Marcus Lofton, Ottawa Hills High School, 11th grade.
Malcolm X once said, "I am not racist. I'm against every form of racism, segregation, every form of discrimination. I believe in human beings and that all human beings should be respected as such regardless of their skin color." In a recent article that I read titled True Colors on QZ.com, it stated that colorblindness, a dangerous myth that hinders our ability to grow past the tears of pain that resulted from disgust of born beauty of one's color. This dangerous myth has put people in a state of mind to think if we just ignore race and focus on character, then everything was self-correct. But how can this work if recognizing one's humanity can't happen without the evil trait of stereotyping? Why can't all humans be treated as humans rather than being treated as aliens or animals? Rather than colorblind, should we be deaf from all elements of sound to the point where we hear nothing but non-racial comments? Although, in my opinion, if you have to block out color to see the light and appearance of relationships between races, we are no better than the ones who claim to be colorblind. And the fact that our government continues to place people in groups only to continue the division only serves to compare races as if life is a competition. And this practice shows how much we are failing to look at someone and see the human life they are. I hope that one day I can walk the streets and not be targeted with guns of law enforcement, the moral hands who swore to serve and protect. Maybe someday I can explain to the young black males and females how black men and women are punished more harshly than others, or how some doctors care for patients differently based on skin color. How does it affect that some teachers have lower expectations for students of color? I hope I can explain these things if these things are things of the past, not like it's in my current reality. Maybe someday I can tell them that the elements that prove colorblindness simply doesn't work. And I can teach them that color is who we are, and color may make us look different, but different is good. Maybe someday our society will be at a place where we will judge people by the content of their character while affirming racial and cultural diversity as gifts. That makes us stronger as individuals and more vibrant as a society. But until those things happen, we remain living a dream and find this reality. And a young black African-American teen like me, all I can do is survive and make good out of the dirty, nasty, unbelievable lifestyle that they gave me.
Zeke DeBlay, Grand Rapids Public Museum School, 6th grade.
Why isn't the world colorblind and shouldn't be? It might feel weird to you just why I'm talking about race. I mean, look at me. I have European roots, so I'm white. I am also male, so stereotypically, I'm expected to think of myself better than anyone else. So why would I be talking about race? Weren't all the people who made a significant difference in the racial community not white, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King Jr., Rosa Parks. I could stay here in the present, Barack Obama, or I could go back to the past, Harriet Tubman. So why a white person of all people talk about race? Because when we all speak, it makes a difference. Maybe one of the reasons the world should be colorblind is so that people, no matter what race, could say what they want to say. I used to think as a white child I was unable to make a difference in the discussion over race, and yet here I am talking about race. What disappoints me, though, is that this is such a big topic and people aren't taking it seriously. To me, I just think the joke is on them. Apparently movies are funny just because they are supporting racism or being racist. Maybe that's why people are immature, because they can't take issues seriously enough. But it can't be just racism. What about sexism and homophobia? Well, all these things are related just because they're all different forms of bigotry. Now, throw them in a pot, add a dash of selfishness, and you get a poison deadlier than arsenic. A poison deadlier than any knife or gun that you've ever seen in your life. Deadlier, maybe, than even death itself. I like to call it discrimination. And you might wonder, why is it deadlier than death? Well, I recently had the chance to go to Israel, and I remember going to Bethlehem, seeing this big fat wall built on Palestinian ground, separating the Israelites and the Palestinians. There's a lot of graffiti on that wall. One sentence that particularly stuck out to me is, "We cannot live, so we are waiting for death." So unless you would be proud of a world full of selfishness, discrimination, and eventually the apocalypse, we should be colorblind. Not colorblind is not seeing any differences ever, but seeing the contents of their hearts, not assuming bad things just because of the colors of people. Once you know a person, you'll begin to see a brand new light. Colorblindness. Thank you.
Mayaja Dunnings, Gerald R. Ford Academic Center, 6th grade.
Good morning. My name is Mayaja Dunning, and I am a proud 6th grade student of Gerald R. Ford Academic Center. And my topic today is, why is it important to talk about race? It is important to talk about race to help build an understanding and respect for others. Also, it will empower us to generate different ideas and to learn from each other. Additionally, we will develop the tolerance for our differences and enhance the community. Talking about race will not only help my peers and me, but it will also help our children and future generations establish a tolerance for others. Rosa Parks once said, and I quote, "Racism is still with us, but it is up to us to prepare our children for what they have to meet, and hopefully we shall overcome." I believe Mrs. Parks' words are sadly still true today. Beginning with discussions on race will open the door to broader discussions of differences such as religion, cultures, disabilities, etc. This will ultimately lead to a culture of love and acceptance. To begin a conversation on race, one must be willing to do the following: have an open mind, accept others, respect for each other by using good manners, agree to disagree, work cooperatively together, share ideas, and make good choices in challenging situations. In closing, I would like to leave you with a couple of quotes that have inspired me to take a more proactive approach to talking about race. Until justice is blind to color, until education is unaware of race, until opportunity is unconcerned with the color of men's skin, Emancipation will be a proclamation, but not a fact. President Lyndon B. Johnson. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King stated, I refuse to accept the view that mankind is so tragically bound to the starless midnight of racism and war that the bright daybreak of peace and brotherhood can never become a reality. I believe that unharmed truth and unconditional love will have the final word. The words of President Johnson and Reverend Dr. King Jr. challenge me to no longer take a passive approach to discussions on race. As human beings, we have an obligation to learn the truth about others, embrace our differences, and surrender unconditional love. Thank you.
Brianna McLemore, University Prep Academy, 12th grade.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Rihanna McLemore, and I'm a 17-year-old student attending Grand Rapids University Preparatory Academy. And I would first like to thank you all for coming out to hear what we the students have to say on this heavy topic, colorblind. I mean, I'm in my seat about to cry. I would like to tell you a little about myself. I attended 3 different schools from kindergarten to now. From kindergarten to 3rd grade, I attended Southwest Community Campus. From 4th to 5th grade, I went to school in the Kenwood Hills School District. And from 6th grade to now, I've attended Grand Rapids University Prep. I am saying this to help you understand the different types of schools and people I worked with throughout my life. At SWCC, the primary race was Hispanic. In the Kenwood Hills School District, the primary race was Caucasian. And that even though UPrep has been the most diverse school that I've attended, it is still primarily African Americans. I wouldn't say that I've faced racial discrimination at either of these schools, but the way that the schools are constructed and the way that the teachers teach are all very different. At SWCC, they were more so focusing on speaking and understanding Spanish. But by the time I left there, I couldn't read or write English as good as the students at my new school. This made me feel bad about myself because I knew that I was smart, but in this one part of my life, I felt like I was less than everyone else. The teachers at my new school worked with me to get me to where I needed to be. And those schools were Fairview and Kenwood Hills Intermediate Schools. A lot was different there. Things such as the technology that they had for us to what it was that they taught. Unlike the other schools that I've attended, they had enough supplies for all of their students and better technology. And I understand that not all schools have the funds for such things, but on the same token, I do know that a lot of money is being put into things that I personally believe are not as important. I've spent most of my years at UPrep, and I believe that at this school, I had the most support from the staff and my peers. Although the school doesn't have the best technology, the teachers go out of their way to make sure that we are getting the best education that we can with what they do have to offer us. So to close, I strongly believe that if elected officials were to step in and help all students in schools get the things that they need, a lot would be different. Things such as the graduating percentage increasing, the dropout rates decreasing, and the students' interest in school. As I said before, I have not directly faced racial discrimination, but I did notice a big difference between the different schools that I went to. And with all of your help, I am sure that we can make a great change for the better. Thank you.
Thank you, Rihanna.
Veronica Gilbert, read by Natalie Gilbert, City High Middle School, 10th grade.
I'm going to read this for my sister. So yeah. So growing up in a multiracial family with an adopted brother that was Haitian, along with many other aunts, cousins, and grandparents that varied in their ethnic backgrounds, I never realized a major distinction between those of different races. When I first realized the true meaning of race was when my family went to museums or zoos and people would question if Armani, my adopted brother, was our family member, thinking that we were just trying to get a family discount or bring one of our friends along with us. Nonetheless, we are bound to get strange looks in public just because of some of our families do not look the same. In addition, one of my friends and I were walking near Rosa Park Circle last summer, a place that most would consider full of adventurous activities for the pondering mind to explore. While eating our ice cream we had just bought, we noticed a woman wearing a hijab and two teenagers following after her, and we heard them yelling rude comments about the woman's religion, race, and appearance. I was disgusted by what I had just witnessed and was severely disappointed that this was happening within such diverse and inclusive place. Luckily, some bystanders, in addition to my friend and I, stopped the teens. I believe that despite of all these stories of racial discrimination in Grand Rapids is becoming a diverse and inclusive place to live. For example, the new diverse police system that they just recruited this year, 2017, was the most diverse year of police recruits for Grand Rapids to date. Some things that can be done to help make more diverse and inclusive place to live is to start with the youth. Children from an early age should have more exposure to culture. This does not necessarily mean that children do a 20-page paper analysis on culture. It just means that providing funding to try different food and to read about cultural differences would likely help. Lastly, everyone should be sure to call out racism or making sure that anything that doesn't promote diversity is called out as well. Regardless, we are all the same.
Jace Wazalowski, Grand Rapids Public Museum School, 7th grade.
When I first heard the word race, I did not know what it meant. So I asked my brother, and he said that it was the color of your skin. I had to make sure on that, so I looked it up on the internet, and it said that it was basically how you look. Skin color, hair color, eye color, etc. But a question you might have is, why does that matter? Yes, it does help you learn things about your past and your ancestry, but many people have been hurt over their race. People used to have to go to different schools, and they had to drink from different water fountains, all because of their race. And race is actually pretty confusing if you think about it. People are being discriminated against something for something they don't even have a say in. I mean, people do not decide to have a certain race. That just happens. But still, everybody got separated over this. I think that it should not matter your race, and that everybody should have the same privileges and be treated equally. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jace.
Adriana Rios, Grand Rapids Public Museum School, 7th grade.
Hi, I'm Adriana Rios, and this is me spilling my opinions on today's topic, Kidspeak, colorblind. Living in a colorblind society means waking up every morning to racist jokes, discrimination, and inequality. Tell me, is this what we want for our city, state, country? People make stereotypical assumptions about everyone's cultures and traditions. I get discriminated by people who I don't even know. I believe there's good in everyone. You just need to realize what point of view you're looking at of that person. I am Mexican. To be a Mexican to you might be a person eating tacos, dealing drugs, raping people. But to me, to be a Mexican means I have to work 100 times harder than anyone else if I want to get what I want in life. Because I know my grandparents and my ancestors wouldn't have been given this education, this life that I have. This is because I know they would have wanted me to do better, to take advantage of my voice and my rights to make my environment a better place than it was before. As I walk the sidewalk of downtown, the city of Grand Rapids, I notice people looking at the buildings and at the altars of who made this place. I often wonder why. Then I think, oh, I know why. It's because we're all different. Different in personalities, faces, features, but are we all that different? The answer is no. Every single one of our hearts are connected. We all share the same sidewalk, the same air, the same home. We all belong to the same human race. A way that we could get past this nonsense of poor and rich, black and white, is if we take the time to look at each other with respect, with loyalty, with pride. To take the time to accept and love each other. It takes $0 and 0 cents to be kind. So let's spread kindness together. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Adriana.
Riley Wilson, City High Middle School, 10th grade.
The issue of racism has plagued our society since its inception. But in the last year, racism has become ever more prevalent as hate crimes have been on the steady rise. Among the 9 major U.S. cities studied by the Center for the Study of Hate and Extremism in 2016, hate crimes have increased by 23.1% overall. This includes bomb threats against places of Jewish worship and mosques, as well as violence against the African American and Hispanic communities. Not only that, but hate groups are also on the rise, especially those targeting the Muslim community. As I said previously, racism has always existed since before any of us were alive, and will unfortunately continue until all of us are long gone. However, we have to ask ourselves, what is the cause in this current spike? To address this, we should take a look at what has been a bitter election cycle and what the effects our current leadership will have on the rates of racism now and for future generations. Our current president, Donald Trump, ran much of his campaign focused on immigration, where he mixed his populist messaging with blatantly nationalistic policy proposals. The staple of his campaign was the border wall between Mexico and the United States, which was pushed as the solution to the, quote, illegal immigration problem plaguing our country. Much of his rhetoric was marked by not-so-subtle racist hints. We all know the famous line in which he suggested that a majority of Mexican immigrants were criminals, drug dealers, and rapists, quickly conceded that some may be good people. In pushing his agenda, Trump became complicit in the anti-Mexican racism, which was legitimized by his candidacy. Not only this, but his proposed Muslim ban was rationalized through calling all Muslims terrorists. So when his supporters stand outside rallies with signs that read, "Go back to your country," or when Muslims are chased out of his speeches, he must be held responsible and have the respect to continue to prevent this. But instead, he never did so. It was as if he turned a blind eye to the racism occurring around him in his name. But I would like to change the focus onto the long-term effects this administration can have on the future of racism in America. Often I think about a moment in a family Christmas party last year where my 7-year-old cousin exclaimed, "Trump will build a wall," which was responded with laughter from many family members. I think about how my cousin is likely to see Trump as a role model, which means his nationalistic and bigoted policies and one-liners are not something he thinks to question. To a child, the words of a man whose face is printed in your history textbooks are not to be dismissed. Children are especially affected by what is said around them, and the leader of their country will undoubtedly tend to change the way they think. And now, like never before, that effect will likely be to the detriment of peace and equality. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan.
Michaela Riley, C.A. Frost Environmental Science Academy, 10th grade.
Hi, I'm Michaela Riley from C.A. Frost. There are many struggles to being biracial. There are times where you're forced to choose a side to identify as. You'll find yourself acting like two different people because if you say you're part something, you have to prove it. Because if you say you're part black and act like you grew up in a white household, you're denying your culture. If you say you're part white and go around talking about how the other night your edges were laid to their gods, you're racist. Because somehow choosing to call yourself black or white isn't both denying your culture and racist. Racism is very present in this world. And after time, you come to realize that we live in a world where you're white or you're not. But what do you do when you're different to everyone you meet? What do you do when you're white and you're not? What do you do when you're the creation of two opposing forces joining together? They're going to try and tell you to be yourself while teaching you their ideals because their opposing force is giving you two sets of ideals forced to make sense of what they mean, forced to make them become one. That's what it is to be biracial. A confusing mess of things thrown to you to figure out for yourself because your white mother can't explain this to you. Your black father can't explain this to you. You're given all these things that make up who you are, and it's up to you to define what that means without the help of anyone. You're alone, and the only one that's going to get you through this is you. I am many things in the eyes of those who look at me. I am a woman. I am an older sister. Before I am any of these things, I am a contradiction. I am biracial. I'm the blending of two colors once forbidden, constantly reminded by those who still believe unity is unattainable, that I'm just an unwanted stain preventing almost perfect separation. But no, I am many things, but unwanted is none of them. I'm the blending of two colors once forbidden, constantly reminding those who believe unity is unattainable that I am the definition of what unity could be. Thank you.
Sophia Almonte, Grand Rapids Public Museum School, 7th grade.
Hello, I'm Sophia Almonte. I chose a question, why isn't the world colorblind? Should it be? This year, Kidspeak chose a topic, colorblind, by which it means non-influenced by racial prejudice. Now, if you're asking me, is the world influenced by racial prejudice? I'd say yes. Every single day, people are judged by their race or ethnicity just because of their appearance. But if we were colorblind, we'd never be able to see the true beauty in others and the culture. I would never want to be colorblind, because if I was, I would never know who I am or where I come from. I recently changed schools and came to the Grand Rapids Public Museum School. I never realized how the world worked because my old school was private. When I transferred in 5th grade, I got a chance to experience an amazing school, but also how racial discrimination worked in the world, and right here in Grand Rapids. For example, for our art prize, we went out as a school, and I saw a piece that had wooden statues of children with their stories on it. And one really caught my eye, and it was about a girl who got kicked out of her own home by her mother because she was like her father. Since then, I've made new friends and discovered amazing cultures. Now knowing how the world really works is I'm not colorblind, but I am in a sense, because there's still so much to learn about where I come from and the history behind it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And Natalie, just real quickly, I want to welcome Senator Hildebrand, who joined us.
Thank you, Mayor.
Erica Starks, Coit Creative Arts Academy, 5th grade.
Hello, my name is Erica Starks. I go to Coit Creative Arts Academy. I'm in 5th grade. I would not like to keep you long because I think that time is money. So, I grew up in Georgia. I grew up with a lot of black people, and all of my family told me that I am different, but I am different in a beautiful way. I am a beautiful African American, and I have not been through what my ancestors have been through. And what I figured out is that everyone is different, and with race, you are different in many ways because like one of the Mexicans, I don't know her name, but she said that I had to work 100 times harder as the other people do because, well, she was right, and I believe what she said. But the question I picked out of the list of questions is, why is it important to talk about race? It is important to talk about race for many reasons, but I, Erica Starks, only have two. In my opinion, it is important to talk about race because adults and children can learn about their history and the differences in the world. Example, if you're talking to an African American, tell them about their history and about one of the hardest things in life, which is treat you and everyone the same, doesn't matter about their race, and also to stay in school, because you are the next generation. And if the next generation is terrible, then we're gonna have to wait for a whole entire next generation, and I don't wanna live in that. And when I came to Michigan, I was like, wow, the way that I've lived and the way that all these other people have to live, I think my reason to be here is to help them. And I don't know exactly what position am I going to play, but I know I'm going to be famous with all. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook. Erica is awesome. Thank you. But anyways, back to the question. Another example, if you're talking to a Mexican, tell them about the Mexican-American War. It will teach them to stay strong in situations like bullying, racism, and how to stay away from poverty. Because poverty is easy, but it's also hard. And my last reason why it is important to talk about race is because it will help children understand the differences in the world. Because if you're this exact same as somebody else, in other words, our new president, which I would not like to say the name of, this world is, you're not going to live up to your true potential. And I just want to tell every little kid in the world, and not just little, but everyone, that you are different. And sometimes it's just hard, and it's supposed to be. Like, a lot of things are hard. Like, I help kids at school, but I also have to be in my classroom before lunch, which can be hard. So I have a lot. And, well, that is why I, Erica Starks, think it is important to talk about race. Thank you.
Donna Hoskins, East Kentwood High School, 9th grade.
Hi, I'm Jonna Hoskins. I'm a freshman at East Kentwood High School. We are all a part of one race, the human race. This is something that I would like society to think, but unfortunately, the reality is that the world sees color. Your race affects the way you are treated, and the idea behind racism is the fact that color is acknowledged. If you're a person of color, you are seen and perhaps treated differently as an individual. Most of us have filled out an application and came upon a question where it asked for your race. Well, if the world didn't see color, if race didn't matter, information as such would be irrelevant. Stereotypes are another contributor to the way people are identified. Many stereotypes are based on race, and many people judge an entire race off of the stereotypes that they have heard or been taught. Due to racial stereotypes, people of color are perceived differently and criticized automatically. This is one way the world isn't colorblind. I also believe the world isn't colorblind because of racism. To be more specific, racism is solely based off of the fact that color is recognized. Think about segregation and Jim Crow laws. There were separate bathrooms, restaurants, and drinking fountains to separate the white people from the people of color. Back then, people were separated because of the color of their skin. People saw color, no doubt, and racism today is still based off of that fact. People see color and they choose how they want to react to it, whether they're scared of it, whether they want to discriminate against it, or whether they accept it. It's no secret that the world isn't colorblind. The truth is, we were meant to see color. We have the first step down, realizing that there are different races and ethnicities. But now we need to take the next step. I believe the world needs to continue to see color so that we can understand, respect, and accept our differences. Instead of tweeting all lives matter, make sure they actually do. Open your eyes and look at the beautiful, diverse world we live in, because like the quote says, we are all a part of one race, the human race. It's about time we start acting like it.
Josh Alvarez, University Prep Academy, 12th grade.
Hello, everyone. My name is Joshua Alvarez, and my topic, I chose what does it mean to be colorblind. What it means to be colorblind is that no one can see who you really are as a person based on your race. They might stereotype you and say things that'll get you down and cause bad situations toward themselves. To me, what it feels like being colorblind is that people see me as a nobody and may have certain thoughts about being Hispanic. They can make jokes about being an immigrant and how I got here or such. They might also think I don't fit in with the group or the society. Being colorblind feels like you're empty and not in place with others around you. It kind of feels like you're being bullied because of your race. Many people feel out of place and are not a part of the cool group at school. Every day, there's always a comment on what someone wears or how they smell or speak. This is what brings people down because of that. The judgments of race and color need to be prohibited and taken care of. Whatever people wear is part of their culture, and others might think of it as a joke. If I had to give some examples about my race, I'd say that my race is very unique and special. The food is very good, and parties are enjoyable and fun because I am surrounded by people who enjoy and love the music that's played too. Being Hispanic is amazing. No matter what happens, the jokes and stereotypical comments can go away because we shouldn't be seen as colorblind people. We should continue to be who we are and be happy to be a part of the race we're dedicated to. Thank you.
Next is Madison Janae from Hampton from Grand Rapids Public Museum School, 6th grade.
Schools and cities should ensure that all children are successful regardless of their race. Schools should have more African American teachers so that way it will be evened out. I have only had one African American teacher in my whole life. That one African American teacher showed her whole class love and care. She didn't care about race. All she knew is that she cared about us and was determined to give her class a great education. That teacher was Miss Bracy. Miss Bracy was a fantastic teacher, and there should be more teachers like her. Cities should have more people that don't look at race. I think more people should be more like my teacher, Mr. Gibson. He doesn't care about race. He just cares about our education. Mr. Gibson is always encouraging us to do the right thing. For example, when someone gets in trouble, he corrects them and encourages them to do the right thing. Mr. Gibson only wants us to be smart and great individuals. Nothing will ever change unless we take the first step to a great future. Thank you.
Roscoe Johnson, read by Jose Torres from C.A. Frost Environmental Science Academy, 10th grade.
Hello, I'm Jose Torres. As a peer of your community, does your race feel relevant in today's society? As a young developing man, I have either encountered or witnessed certain situations involving all sorts of races. For example, there is still segregation. It may not seem like it, but deep down, we are not whole yet. Racism is a main head title in our society today. It's also overlooked differently by different mindsets. The emotional subject may be in a category of having biased opinions. The way you act can determine the way you feel. Racism can be relevant or any part of the world, no matter the circumstances. I myself do not enjoy speaking upon touchy subjects like racism, which could be easily resolved with a little effort from township. It does not have to be spoken upon to know that this is a problem. If you aren't caught on by now, I'm relating this informational essay to a question, and I want you all to think upon this question. Is Grand Rapids split into segregation cities because of race? Now, personally, I think it is a question that would be more relevant if we asked 10 to 15 years ago. I say this because back then, tensions weren't tight between races. But then again, races weren't mixed up on each other as well. Even for me, as the age of 5 to 7, I never had too many white or Hispanic neighbors as I would have now. When communities upon up and work with each other, more than one race always feels welcome. It is just an opening for more opportunities to be found. Some people of opposite race might feel completely different than I do. The overall isn't a bad thing. We all have our own opinions. That would be a reason to be better ourselves, though why not work together to come up with new ways of living that everyone can agree on. I've noticed over the past few years, the largest problem seems to be communication within others around you. This leads to anything school, at home, activities, crime, police brutality, and even more big headings. Taking actions or problems are always a good thing to do, but communication is the overall key. From the perspective of today, 4/21/17, I honestly don't believe our city is split of based race. Like I said before, we are getting better at opening up based off race. There are people who have negative thoughts on another race, and that's just a personal problem that we shouldn't waste time on. But our generation is the one who should almost be looked up to. We should be doing the most to change our perspective on negative energy. Our mindset isn't yet solid with information, so why shall our hearts be?
Thank you, Josh.
Miaza Love, University Prep Academy, 12th grade.
Hello, good morning. My question that I answered was, how can the city of Grand Rapids and the schools ensure success through every child regardless of race? And in response to that question, I said, the only way schools in Grand Rapids can ensure that success flows through every child regardless of race is with one solution. Stop removing teachers from children's earlier years in life. Teachers make a big impact in most kids' lives, but the only reason there's no progress and change and children are falling through with their learning is because all of the teachers the children start off with in middle school are gone before an impact can even be made. Teachers aren't given enough time to make that change because before you know it, they're transferred off to another school district. How can a teacher make an impact in a group of kids' lives in only 2 years? Teachers need to be carried on with the group of kids they start off with for multiple reasons. Reasons number one is because of comfort. Once a teacher gets comfortable with a group of kids, this then ignites a flame of learning opportunities. Not only is the teacher learning more about the kids, they're also connecting and learning more ways to perfect their teaching so the kids can, excuse me.
You're doing great.
So the teacher can grab information in a perspective that they understand. The students soon begin to adjust to the teacher's learning, to the teacher's teaching, and respect of race becomes a mutual thing. Students also start to blossom and unravel from their shells, making being themselves in front of a class just starts to flourish naturally. The second reason is gaining a lifelong bond with a highly influential person who has impacted the children's life to the point where disconnection is not an option. There should be more relationships like this because it's not always about what you know, but who you know. These types of relationships ensure a successful life for the child, considering they have personal connections with teachers who also have personal connections broader than that child's reach. This is a prime example as to why we need to lower the turnover rates and keep teachers all the way through with the kids they start with in middle school until graduation. The final reason is trust. Regardless of race or school district, everyone faces a hardship in their life, and students gaining trust in an adult who believes in them and pushes them out of their comfort zone every day is someone who is making a difference. Being able to trust a teacher whom you've been with years can save our youth's lives. Kids contemplate suicide and other misleading thoughts due to their home situations. But being able to have trust in the teacher you've connected with over time gives the child security and comfort. This then shows and pushes the child to never give up, even if nobody else isn't in their corner, because the teacher will always be there as a source of growth and empowerment, regardless of race. In conclusion, there's only one major solution to ensure every child, regardless of race, becomes successful and excel in their learning journey. And that is being able to lower the turnover rates and keeping teachers put with one group. This unlocks a whole new level of learning growth opportunities. We need to take this into consideration. Thank you.
Next, Joanna Workman from Grand Rapids Public Museum School, 7th grade.
isn't the world colorblind? When I think of this, I think of the giver. Jonas, the main character, lives in this community that is living in what they call sameness. Everyone looks the same, they all have the same haircut, clothes, everything is regulated, including weather. He doesn't even know what rain is, and everyone has the same opportunities. But the first thing that comes to mind is not any of these things. It is the fact that because of the sameness, they cannot see color. That way everyone looks the same. Why does this thing come to me, though? Because Jonas starts to see color, and he, who has been deprived of it all of his life, is awed by it. He thinks it's amazing and wonderful. He thinks it's so unfair that his friends can't see color. They don't even know it exists. So how does this relate? This shows that being colorblind can be a good thing. There's no discrimination, and people are known for their personalities and not what they look like. Even though this could be a good thing, I think our world should not be colorblind. Because if our world was colorblind, we wouldn't be reduced to sameness. We wouldn't look the same like they did in this book, except for color. Another reason is that color is beautiful. Jonas couldn't even tell that an apple was red or green. All he could tell was an apple. It didn't have color. Color just didn't exist, and when he saw it, it was beautiful. We are colorful, and that is beautiful. We aren't reduced to sameness, so there's beauty, wonder, amazement, awe, difference, and contrast. This can be good and amazing, but also bad. This can provide a difference and contrast. This can provide an opportunity to discriminate and separate, and that is taking this beautiful thing we can see and be and turning it upside down. Taking it for granted just so someone can pretend to be better than someone else. Instead of being colorblind, we can look at people for who they are and love them for it. It does not matter what they look like, they're still human, and all humans have the same rights. We should be kind no matter who they are, no matter what they look like, no matter what they believe in. So to answer the question, should the world be colorblind? No, we should not be colorblind because color brings beauty, and in beauty there is difference, and being different is what makes you special. Thank you.
Christopher Dowse from University Prep Academy, 12th grade.
Good morning.
Good morning.
An optimist is a person who sees a green light everywhere, while a pessimist sees only the red stoplight. The truly wise person is colorblind, Albert Schweitzer. My topic today I will be speaking about is why isn't the world colorblind? Should it be? The two definitions of colorblind is as follows: being unable to distinguish certain colors or not influenced by racial prejudice. I would like to start with that the average human eye can see 7 million colors, has over 100 million rod cells, and 3 cones which consist of blue, green, and red. We use this color to make great inventions and breakthroughs in technology, but having this color can also have others seeing different of each other. Being of a mixed descent, I see both sides of this conflict. One side may see the other as inferior or less, while the other side responds with hate. Why do we separate ourselves based on the color of our skin? Color doesn't define who we are, it's only how we look. The color of our skin doesn't define our dreams, goals, success, aspiration, personality, identity, and so forth. Humans are all of the same species of the genus Homo, as we can be traced back to the Neanderthals. So how can we let this color separate our people? We may focus on the bad things of one and do look at the other with the same skin and go through a process called stereotyping, which would view them as a stereotype. But I say our color does not define us. As Robert M. Hensel once said, I cannot and will not judge by what my eyes may see, for the skin on a man shall not reveal his true identity. In saying this, I believe we can accomplish many things as a human race, but I also believe that we should be colorblind to the color of a man's skin, for it does not set a destiny or a definition of who he is. We must learn to love each other and recognize that we all descend from the same roots. We learn from the past, but we cannot let the past fully impair what the future sees of each other. In conclusion, I would like to say that colorblind's two definitions carry heavy meanings. One helps distinct green from red, such as a stoplight, but the other makes us distinct of each other based on the color of our skin. To my full answer of this question, I believe we should and should not be colorblind. I say this because color may help us with many things in life, such as evolution, but it does not help us love each other because of the past our forefathers etched into history. The human eye can see 7 million different colors, but we should not define our brothers and sisters here by these colors. We should define each other as equal. As Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "I have a dream my 4 children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character." Thank you.
Thank you.
Hannibal Spencer from University Prep Academy, 12th grade.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Morning.
I would first like to say that this is my life story, and it is a general statement. I will not use all. Forest Hills, East Grand Rapids, Lowell, Ada, Burton Heights, Alger Heights, Madison area. These are all areas around Grand Rapids. Are these areas separated by race, or is it just a theory? Now, I'm a student at UPrep, okay, and I live by Garfield Park. I did not always live there, though. When I was in elementary school, I went to Ada Elementary from kindergarten to 4th grade. And when I was there, I felt like everybody else, like nothing really changed compared to the other kids, because we were just kids at the time. We would just play and have fun. Until we went on this field trip. In 4th grade, we went to MVP Sports to go swimming. And there were teachers and there were chaperones, and we all went into the locker room to put sunscreen on before we went swimming. And when everybody was getting sunscreen, I just sat and waited. I just waited until everybody was done. I was just chilling. Until the chaperone came up to me and I asked her, "Do you have any sunscreen for me?" And she told me straight up, "Black people don't really need sunscreen." It was a black lady who said it. And I found out, because I asked my mom, that black people have melanin in their skin and that it protects you a little bit from the sun, but at the time I didn't know it. That's when I really found out I was different. The people at Ada also had a lot of money and really nice cars out there, and I thought it was regular because I lived with my grandparents at the time. And then my mom came and picked me up from school, and we went over to where she lived by Burton, and it was a lot different. The houses looked a lot different. The cars looked a lot different. But the people were really cool. Like, the people had a lot of character, and they showed a lot of love towards me because I looked just like them. And when I went back to Ada, I told my friends about it, and they said I should stay away from that side of town. And they told me that it's bad on that side of town. And it's funny because we was just kids, and it's crazy how they already knew that on that side of town it was dangerous. It's crazy how people like me, people who look like me, are afraid to drive on that side of town because they're afraid they're gonna get pulled over for no reason. It's funny how they don't wanna come on my side of town because they lock their doors at stoplights. But I don't understand why it has to be like this. I don't understand why it has to separate. We all just people. That's why I ask if we're really separated by race, or like they said, they have a lot of money, or are we just separated by that? So, thank you.
Thank you, Hannibal.
Maya Thompson from University Prep Academy, 12th grade.
Hello, I'm a senior from University of Prep. As we get farther in life, we will come to many interactions with people whom we will form relationships with. It is important that we treat everyone we meet with respect. To do so, we must see people for who they are on the inside and treat them how they want to be treated. Not treat them how we think they should be treated because of preassumptions and judgments. Any successful person will tell you one of the major keys to success is relationships. The better we treat people, the better relationships we have, a major key to success. It is important to talk to each other about race so that we can learn about cultures and eliminate prejudice. What you may think you know about one race may be completely false. We miss out on a lot of opportunities to meet people who may change our lives because of the preassumptions we have about them. When we avoid talking to people because of how they look on the outside, we miss out on some amazing life-changing relationships. That person you avoid on the highway may be the next president, and because you didn't want to talk to them because they identify with another race, you missed out on meeting the president. If we stop judging people by the way they look on the outside and put on our colorblind lenses, we might be able to meet some amazing people and take advantage of some amazing opportunities. Thank you.
Emilio Martin, C.A. Frost Environmental Science Academy, 10th grade.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Why isn't the world colorblind? Shouldn't it be? I believe this question means a lot and is very powerful in many different ways. Why isn't the world colorblind? Why can't everyone be treated the right way no matter their race? Why are certain races or people in general separated because others aren't satisfied that the different ethnicities are the same as themselves? The world is blinded by its own insecurities. If you are not like your fellow neighbor, it's a problem that will never be understood. Every day I see myself and other minorities being stereotyped because the way we act or the color of our skin. The world, and to get even deeper, Grand Rapids needs to realize we are all equal and we all bleed the same blood, so no one should be treated differently. Why is it that people look at others before they get to know them? Race does have a big impact with that, and most people will have the worst mindset of the intention they believe you have for them until they get to know you. Growing up at the age that I am now, I do see the world as colorblind in many different ways. I see it in the school system, like those who are privileged enough to go to the best schools and get the best education. Also, I see it in sports, not trying to be biased, but 9 times out of 10, the white schools will have a much better advantage when it comes to the refs rather than African-American schools. It's just small things like this you notice and realize that the world is split up and seen in different shades and colors. Being a minority, being a part of the two races that are mostly seen different, black and Mexican, I approach every day knowing there may be some battles I may encounter. It may be some people who look at me different and see me nothing like them, but that's okay. I know who I am, I know what I can do. I see myself doing great things, even if others see me with no potential or future. Even if others are colorblind, don't see me for who I truly am, I will succeed, I will become what I desire, no matter the circumstances or ways I'm portrayed.
China Figures, University Prep Academy, 12th grade.
What it means to be a black young lady is setting standards and creating more opportunities. Being a black young lady, I decided to change the standards of our stereotypical behavior. I refuse to be a statistic that does nothing with themselves. I am a senior at University Prep Academy. I have worked hard to maintain a 3.9 to 4.0 GPA throughout high school. I know that because of my race, I have to work 10 times harder to be successful because of all the odds that are against me. I feel that because of my race, people feel I can't do as much as others. But I know I can do anything I put my mind to. The benefits of being an African-American young lady is that in this generation I live in, I can start the change I would like to see. When others see me doing something great, they will start to follow. I will be the start of the trend. Always remember, the color of your skin does not define your ability. Thank you.
Nike Trowbridge, University Prep Academy, 12th grade.
Okay, I had the last question as well. Is the world colorblind, and should it be? To this day, race is still a major world issue commonly dealt with. For one, there's still racist people out here. For two, there's so many groups of people who are racist or people in the past who are racist that those rare ones who aren't, they get rounded in with the others. For some reason, all the world can see is color. They don't actually see the character that everyone has. No one wants to be colorblind, but yet no one can handle what they see. If the world was colorblind, everyone would be forced to look past skin. We all wouldn't be able to discriminate others because no one would know the difference. Even when we think we aren't doing anything wrong, we are. All those racial slurs we use to joke or the stereotypes that there are forms of racism, no matter how funny or harmless we think they are. If we couldn't group people together by their color, we would be forced to realize that everyone is just the same inside, that our skin really doesn't make a difference. And then, once we realize that, we could be able to appreciate the color that there is in the world. Majority of hate crimes could be stopped if people chose to actually live life colorblind. However, we have so many powerful people abusing their power and basically showing the world that it's okay to be racist. From Donald Trump, our president, the leader of our country, who he basically used his whole campaign around racism, and people voted for him and clearly made it known that that's why they voted for him, not because of the other things that he said. to police officers who've used excuses to shoot down and kill certain kinds of races, African Americans, some Latinos, like all of that. And they even included children who clearly were harmless. This is because everyone believes a certain color means a certain thing. For instance, that all African Americans are criminals, that all Caucasians are racist, and that all Latinos are illegal immigrants. I don't know about the rest of you, but I was born in America. And I'm white, Mexican, and Puerto Rican. My stepdad's African American, and my siblings are mixed. I go to a school that's majority minorities, but yet we're all cultural because there's so many of the minorities. I can't even allow myself to fall into racism because all my life I've been around different races. The larger part of my friends are all African American or mixed, and I consider them my family. Not to mention, I'm in love with an African American. So when I say colorblind, yes, I mean look past each other's skin, but also embrace it. And so going off that definition, I choose to live my life colorblind, and I've got to say, I'm pretty content with life. I think the rest of the world should try it. Thank you.
Alana Johnson, Grand Rapids Public Museum School, 6th grade.
Hello. What is race? What race means to me is maybe different from what you're thinking. Race is the word that divides people by color and birthplace. Race means to be proud of yourself and others. But race feels like you've just fell from a star and fell back on earth. Like you've touched something such extraordinary and it's just gone away and blown in the wind. Like you just touched a cloud. The benefits of my race are amazing. It's the soulful cooking that your grandma makes, or the broom that you can't wait to jump over when you become a missus. These are just a few benefits of my race, and what it means to me, and how it makes me feel. Thank you.
Thank you.
Elena Overman, Grand Rapids Public Museum School, 6th grade.
Good morning.
Morning.
I mean, if it's still morning, I can't really tell. So, my name is Lena Overman. The question I chose is, why isn't the world colorblind? Should it be? The world isn't colorblind because color cannot be hidden, and color cannot be ignored. I would not want the color of people, nor the color of the world to be hidden either. Color is what makes things beautiful. It's what makes us beautiful. We should not judge people for how they look. Instead, we should embrace each other's differences. We should learn from the people who are different from us and who have different experiences than us. I go to the public museum school. The students come from different backgrounds with different ideas. When I talk to my classmates who are different than me, I am able to step into their shoes and see a new side of the world. I am glad I have the opportunity to be with new people who are different than me, because I understand more about the world because of those people. The world should not be colorblind. We need to see the differences in other people. We need to take them in for who they are, not judge them by the way they look. If the world was colorblind, it would be like looking at a blank wall for all eternity. And looking at a blank wall for all eternity is not fun. Trust me, I've tried. My family helps with refugee families. The refugees may have a different culture, a different language, and look different, but the kids love to have fun, just like me. One time we tried to teach some kids from Rwanda the game of tag. They were obviously confused because when they ran around and tagged other people. It was fun and made us all laugh. After a while, we switched to soccer, which we all knew. The point I'm trying to get to is that there are similarities even within the differences of our cultures. I love seeing the initial differences of our experiences and also learning the new things we have in common. To me, colors are important. No matter what colors they are, no matter what it is, or no matter who it is. I would like to see my city, Grand Rapids, Michigan, take people of all races and make them feel welcome, valued, and safe everywhere they go. Thank you.
Alita Whitty, Grand Rapids Public Museum School, 6th grade.
Hi, I'm Alita Whitty. What do you need from parents, teachers, and after-school leaders to succeed in the multiracial world in which we live? Bad things happen every day, all over the world, and unfortunately, right here in Grand Rapids. A majority of the bad things are based on discrimination, and it happens because it can be hard to accept people who are different than us. Look around you. No one looks the same. When the settlers moved here, they thought they were better and could treat people poorly because of their race and differences. As years passed, things got better. At least that's what we're told. Look around. Have things really changed? Just a few weeks ago, here in Grand Rapids, 5 African-American boys around my same age were forced to the ground at gunpoint by police officers. Their crime? One could argue it's simply being black in today's white-dominated America. So how can teachers and others help? They can share real-world examples of racial discrimination and give us opportunities to talk about how racism is present in these situations. They can also teach us how to understand that we have contributed to the problem and how to be more aware of our own racial judgments. There is no freedom for all, when some are still oppressed.
Brooks Welch from East Kanawha High School, 12th grade.
Hi, my name is Brooks Welch. I'm a senior at East Kentwood High School, and that is just given the title of the most diverse school as of 2017. Earlier this year in my AP Lit class taught by Caitlin Vilovlek, she took a poll to see who's talked about race in school, like which students. And out of the 34, about 6 said that they've discussed race in school like ever since they were little to high school, being a senior. And it's just interesting because East Kentwood has 61 countries, 63 languages, minority population is 54.8, and we're scared to talk about race. I feel this is a disservice to the students because our realities are shaped by our identities, and ignoring these are ignoring whole parts of students, and not learning from each other makes ignorance and perpetuates that and brings fear and hate becomes dangerous. This made me think that EK, as it being a very diverse school and being the poster child for diversity, our dialogue is just now beginning. So schools like East Grand Rapids or Grand River Prep or Forest Hills probably are not having dialogue at all. It's very isolated and predominantly white, as GR is the 26th most segregated metropolitan area out of 102. The 26th out of 102. No matter how little the number is of students of color at these schools, they're still there, and they should be recognized and not dismissed by colorblind philosophy. You notice skin and physical features, and that's not a problem. It's not a problem that you know that someone has darker hair or darker skin, but the problem is when you use that against someone to make it a disadvantage, to stunt their growth of how they can live, where they can live, school, education. Colorblindness attributes unnecessary shame to what should be illuminated and seen as an advantage. Since it's proven students spend 175 to 180 days at school, 1,000 hours of instructional time, allowing no time to discuss Black Lives Matter, the shameful Muslim ban put in place by our current president, or the correlation between skin color and poverty in our city is not acceptable. I used my school as an example to show that diversity isn't enough. It's essentially only a voiceless visual. Like you see all these people, but it's only an asset if you're tapping into it intentionally. So my own work in the fight for racial equity, and what others can do too, is starting as simple as asking history teachers what they have planned for Black History Month. Because I had an experience where I asked a teacher what we were doing for Black History Month, and they told me that we already discussed slavery and imperialism. And now my school hosts a Black History Month celebration. See progress. Also calling out unfair race-related treatment. you often feel as minority students or minorities in general with microaggressions, you feel like you're being too sensitive or you might be misinterpreting, but I beg to differ. You should follow that intuition. You probably are being mistreated. And point out the lack of diverse staff and courses. This year, my school just added African American literature, which has been a great class, and we're learning so much about the African American experience as a whole, but definitely reading lots of African American literature. And just a takeaway from that, love your school enough to critique it. Lead the discussion with student forums and help educate. EK had the first annual Diversity Week this year, and we had Flag Day, Cultural Fact Day, Cultural Garb Day, and we decorated the hallway with a whole bunch of different flags representing the 63 different countries. And I just thought that proves that celebrating diversity is fun. You can make it fun. To be colorblind is to live in a world without any vibrance or differing of stories and perspectives, making for a very bland and ignorant world. Colorblindness is concerned with equality, which is seeing everyone as the same. But I challenge my peers to combat colorblindness with equity. Intentionally see differences and utilize them for the greater good. Thank you.
Gabrielle Clark, Ottawa Hills High School, 12th grade.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
So I chose the last prompt as well. Why isn't the world colorblind? And I chose to write a poem about it. Why isn't the world colorblind? Why, would you ask me? As a woman of color, I tend to see everything, like the way we are treated because of pigmentation, which determines life or death in our reprobate nation. And I couldn't really tell you what pains me more or less, living in colored skin or getting second best. Or maybe how being white suddenly makes you a default racist, or how being told that all the food you make is unseasoned and tasteless. Or not being able to walk freely with a turban, feeling threatened by a threat in an area that's suburban. Or not being taken seriously because you're labeled immigrant, or being spoken down to because they think you're ignorant. And this isn't meant to be a complaint or a grievance. I'm just speaking peer to peer because I feel we really need this concept on ethnicities to be discussed openly in a place where we can feel completely safe and totally secure in our opinions and open to enlightenment. Embedded in our tissue is the history of every race, a mutated gene, a change of scene, adaptations in our face. And I know this topic's touchy and understand it's controversial, but when you've seen it with your eyes, it's memorized with no rehearsal that we're living in a world where we're set up to starve and die, while others in different colors perish, prosper, or cry from the moral misconduct that we all demonstrate. For once and all, please, I'll set the record straight. Should the world be colorblind? I'd have to tell you no. Because without all of our colors, there would be nothing to show or speak for the culture we all possess that's oh so very rich. How we've all changed over time throughout each generation, learning from the past mistakes and attempting restoration for years of violence, hate, and crime. Colorblind is not the answer. Instead, embrace every color and what everyone has to offer, because I learn from you and you learn from me, and hopefully our daughters and sons can play together happily and blissfully unaware that being colored was a problem that was never there.
Nkechinyere Okawasi from Southwest Community Campus, 3rd grade.
I don't think she's on here. Hi, my name is Nkechi, and I'm a 3rd grader at Southwest Community Campus, and this is the question I picked for you. Why is it important to talk about race? It is important to talk about race because you show your differences, and you don't have to be the same if you're a different color. When we talk about race, it allows other people to understand and appreciate the differences and many similarities that we share. By talking, we all can express our feelings and get out of our shadows. When we fail to talk about race, we are leaving room for stereotypes. Although it can feel overwhelming talking about it, it is important that we do. We are all people and should all be treated equally. Some people think if we don't talk about race, it will magically go away, but that is not true. I like to talk about race because it is fun to share my culture, values, and beliefs. When you educate about race, it helps to fight racism and create change. Issues of race need to be discussed in order to bring them to light. Oftentimes, people don't realize they are using race as a measure of judgment. Once we start to discuss these topics, we can begin to see why there's a racial divide and what we can do as a community to break through this. By talking openly and honestly about race and what it means, we can help the world see beyond the outward differences and look deeper for the things that connect us. Thank you for your time.
Quinn Hodgman from Coit Creative Arts Academy, 4th grade.
I am proud. Why am I proud? I don't say this because I'm white. I don't say this because I'm male. I say this because I live in a world where we aren't separated by 2 water fountains, where we aren't separated by 2 schools. We're not separated by 2 races. Are you human? Are you human? Are you human? We're all human. That is the only race that really matters. Does it really matter what color of skin you are? Not at all. So why do we judge people by this? It doesn't matter. Why is the real question. Now, the question I picked today is, why is race important? Race is important because all of us, despite having different colors, are all human. We're all one race, and that one race is human. We all deserve a chance to show how great we actually are, inside and outside. No matter what world you live in, you're all human, and that's what really matters. Thank you.
Can we get another round of applause for all of them?
Yes.
At this time, we would like for the listening panel and students in the audience to begin filling the survey they were given. Okay, this, if you need a survey right now, some of our Affairs Council members will hand one to you.
You want one? Oh,
So this survey will help us evaluate this year's event to ensure that we've met our outcomes and can improve upon next year's event. If you need something to write with, we have members of the Mayor's Youth Council circulating with pens and pencils. Please complete the survey before exiting the chambers. The Mayor's Youth Council will collect them at the door. I also want to speak directly to those in the room and those watching this on TV. If you are between the ages of 15 to 24 years old and you live in the city of Grand Rapids and you need a great paying job for the summer, check out the LEAD program. Everyone should have received a flyer about this. If you go through this program, you can earn a job working for the city and other businesses in the community that participate within the Mayor's 100 campaign. You will not only learn about city government and how to write a bomb cover letter and resume, but you will get an You will get to take an acting class and a hip hop class and learn how to manage your money. This is an opportunity you can't pass up. So again, if you're looking for employment and you're 15 to 24 years old, check out the LEAD program. Applications are available in the hallway or online at ourcommunitieschildren.com. That's ourcommunitieschildren.com.
As you're all filling out your surveys, we would like to take a minute to acknowledge and thank our partners and sponsors: Our Community's Children, Michigan's Children, the City of Grand Rapids, the Grand Rapids Public Schools, the city's Racial Equity Here Initiative Core Team, and Daddy Pete's Barbecue for giving us awesome deal on lunch. Please give all of our sponsors a loud round of applause.
Now please welcome Ms. Shannon L. Harris, Program Coordinator of Our Community's Children, as she gives some closing remarks.
But can we give it up one time for Daniel and Natalie? Obviously, our speakers, you guys are so courageous. And I was just talking to one of our photographers, and she said, I am confident in this generation. So
Absolutely.
I
Amen.
ditto that. Thank you, Danavia, for saying that. Before I give some closing remarks, I want to know if the listening panelists have any remarks that they would like to say to the youth speakers. So we've got some microphones that are circulating. So this is the time.
Yeah, thanks. I'll start. So I'll say just a couple things. One, I couldn't agree more with Shannon. It takes a lot of courage to get up and to speak. And I want to say thank you for finding that courage inside of you to do it. This was an amazingly powerful morning. Your testimony was powerful. And, you know, I've always said that I have incredible hope for the future. And I do believe that we can change what the future is like. And I do believe that we can eliminate racism. And honestly, it's people like you, it's young people that give me that hope. So thank you.
There's some handheld mics in the back, if you could pass them forward, or there's one right up here. Yep, go ahead.
Wendy?
So, all right, I just, first of all, I want to thank Ms. Hampton and Ms. Love, talking about the importance of teachers. As sitting on the Grand Rapids Public School Board, I thought they were pretty profound comments. Ms. Love talking about how important that relationship is and relationship to network, but also how important it is to keep that teacher longer, as well as diversity. I want to let you know that both the board and the administration are aware of both of those issues and working very hard on them. That doesn't mean we don't need to be working on them harder. So thank you for those comments. I also just want to talk about how much the students were speaking about advocacy. Ms. Gilbert was representing her sister and talking about the moment when she saw the woman with a hijab and the harassment she was experiencing. And I want to congratulate her for recognizing her role as an advocate and defending against bullying. And I want to give a shout out to Mr. Riley Wilson. He didn't speak about it, but my sons witnessed him playing that role as advocate on a Grand Rapids public bus. And I just think this generation to step up and have leadership and be advocates is really exciting and very admirable. Thank you.
Do I need that phone?
No, you can speak right into
it. Okay, fine. Students, as a former teacher, I have to say, you got an A+. You are terrific, terrific. Now, let me tell you, I came to this state as a migrant farm worker when I was your age. And now I sit on the State Board of Education. When I ran for office, it's a statewide office, I got almost 2 million votes. So sí se puede. Now, there's two advice and two things that I kept in my philosophy as I grew up, and I still do. There's two things. Never allow anyone or anything to get in your way of progress. And the other one, always look at the half full glass. And you're gonna get to be, I was telling the mayor, there's our mayor, I was telling the senator, there's our next president, our next this, and you all are going to be a somebody. Thank you so much. I'm so proud of you.
I echo actually what has already been said, but wow. Wow. Amazing. And thank you. Thank you for sharing, for being courageous and brave. And some words of advice: go out and be bridge builders. Tear down walls that are built from hate. Don't co-sign on bullying and acts of hatred by not doing anything or saying anything. Stand up, be heard, just like you were today. Thank you for instilling hope in me for my future. You guys are amazing. Thank you.
I'd like to echo too, congratulations. And I've been on this listening panel a number of times over the years. And it's I think what people don't realize, and I think the panelists will probably agree with me, is that this is a good experience for you. You get to learn about an issue facing our community, our state, our world, and you prepare a speech and you deliver it, and you learn a lot from that. But over the years, participating in these, I actually learn, I believe, so much more than you do. We are all charged now at these points of our lives and in our positions to make decisions for the future that you're all going to be a part of, and you're all going to be in these positions to make decisions. And so I learned from you about what you're learning, what you're feeling, what's important to you, the influences that are in your lives from your family, the adults in your lives, your schools, your community. And so I just want to thank you for being courageous. That word was used a lot. It's courageous. You've had a great experience this morning, but you've also taught me a lot. So thank you very much.
Stacy, I just want to thank you for your wisdom. I have long said that youth are among the best teachers. You have always been the best teachers to me. And I think we as adults, we need to be better students, and we need to listen more to your wisdom, because you dropped some serious knowledge today. And I have I was trying to write everything down, so I hope we can get copies of some of these. But also, you're not just leaders of tomorrow, you're leaders right now. Right now, a lot of these social movements throughout history and currently, they're led by youth, right? You have the energy and innovation. Elders we have, I'm like a baby elder, I'm not like an official elder, but we have roots and we have history, but combined with your leadership and your energy and your wisdom, we can change our part of the world. And so I just want to thank you for your leadership, and hopefully hashtag be my coworker, apply to the city. I would love to work with you on a daily basis.
Just really quick. I want to thank all of you guys. This has been very powerful today, but it reminds me of, I have to go to scripture, and Micah 6:8. And it says, "And what does the Lord require of you? To act justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God." And so I just want to thank you guys for, I think the theme throughout this morning was essentially for us to celebrate humanity. Because I hope we all walk away today with the understanding that it's bigger than race. It's essentially about humanity. And I want to say to all of you that I personally affirm you, and I just thank you for your boldness and your tenacity to speak truth to power. Thank you, guys.
That's why I was trying to speak before Clee, because he said exactly what I was going to say. First and foremost, so I don't get a text from him. In my intro earlier, I meant to also say I am the advisor for the NAACP Youth Council. So you want to talk about advocacy and fire? I was so charged up by you guys. And personally, even though he said it, but I affirm each one of you, the feelings that you feel inside of yourself, it's okay, release them, because that's your power. Never let anyone take over the power of yourself, because then you're giving up yourself. The only person in charge of yourself is you, and God gives you that power to be in charge of yourself. Okay? Now, here's something I kind of wrote down. I was influenced, I'm not a poet, and snaps to the sister who did do poetry, but I thought of something. While living in all of this discouragement of this world, I am encouraged by the young people that I see. And believe it or not, as a former educator, and I educated in Detroit public schools where I was educated at myself, as an adult now, I am so encouraged that our future is so much brighter because of you all. I charge each one of you to go out, talk to your peers and talk to others, because what you have, others need. And if you don't do it, no one else will.
That's right.
Just really quickly, a couple of quotes that resonated with me. Continue to call out racism. We absolutely need to do that. And then secondly, we can't take a passive approach to these conversations. These conversations absolutely need to happen. And I want to send a big shout out to not only the students who were super brave today, and I noticed that some individuals, when they were finished presenting, were like, "Whew, thank goodness that's over." But you all did wonderfully. You exhibited some talents today that we see every single day in the Grand Rapids Public Schools. And I also want to give a big shout out to all of the students who came here today to see you in action. Right? And how encouraging your peers were when you were up there. You had their full attention, and our charge is next year, some of you who are sitting back there watching your peers be so successful, come and join the fun. Thank you.
I too want to commend you all for your courage in speaking out. One of the worst things that can happen is if we all put up our defenses. And there's nothing like hearing from young people who are speaking to adults to help us get those defenses down and begin to listen and address the inequities in our city. I loved what Brooke said about love your school enough to criticize it, and I want you to love your city enough to do that as well. We have wounds that need to be healed, and you can help us. I also loved Gabriel's poem. I'd love to have a copy of that. Embrace everyone and what they have to offer means so much to all of us. And Michaela, you spoke to my heart. I too have a mixed race family and a daughter like you, and watched her go through difficulties in high school, trying to figure out where to fit in. And so I just appreciate that there is so much hope in this next generation, that we're going to get over a lot of these obstacles that we've had and these intentional barriers that have been put in the way of all of you. And please tell us how we can help you, because we so appreciate you, and you are our hope for the future. Thank you.
Really quick, I just want to again say congratulations and great job. You guys did way better than I did like 10 years ago. Way better. But also that it's really amazing how conscious you are of race and equity at such a young age, right? We knew about this, even my own experience. I mean, I was super conscious of race and what that meant in terms of discrimination and stereotypes really early, and I see that you guys are there too, and you've taken a step further and you're trying to advocate for equity. So congrats and kudos to you all, and I think it's important for us to keep that in mind, that this consciousness starts really, really early. And the last thing, just again, you guys were so eloquent, so knowledgeable, that I think any of us could have taken your script and said what you said. Like, that's how great it was. So congratulations again.
Okay, I know I'm standing in between you all in lunch, so I'm just going to be really, really brief with my shout out. So this Kidspeak could not be possible without the following people. So Glenda Hayden, and I know she had to go back to school. She's a social worker at Ford Academic Center in MLK. Leah Young, I know she's in the back there. Counselor at Ottawa Hills High School. Susie Jacoby, counselor at Union. Alexia, teacher at C.A. Frost. Dr. Hanks, principal at Grand Rapids Public Museum School. Jackie Thompson, Loop Site Coordinator at Buchanan Elementary. Sonia Hernandez, GRCC Latino Hispanic Commission of Michigan. Kenyatta Hill, who's a principal at UPrep. Ashley Matthews and Maria Hampton from UPrep. Sarah Brooks, Grand Rapids Urban League. Sandy Harvey from GRPS. I want to give a special shout out to Denavia Moget for her excellent photography skills. I don't know if she's in the room. Okay. And she's graduating from Grand Valley State University next week. And then the last two people, but certainly not least, last three people actually, Lynn Heemstra. We were here late last night putting all these chairs together. And Shayla Willis from the T2C studio. And Jordan, is he here? Eatman. So kudos to those people. So thank you so much for coming. I'll toss it back over to Daniel and Natalie.
Okay, we're gonna take a selfie with all of you. We're gonna take like a crowd selfie first before we close up in just a minute, so.
Love it.
I thought about doing that.
This is yours. No, mine, I already got one, yep. Mine's mine. Sorry. I will never forget this.
Yeah.
You have to, wait, you have to do one this way too. Come on. Just because we're old.
All right. Don't forget to drop off your surveys on the way out.
And please join us downstairs for lunch on the Ottawa level so you can take the elevator down to level 1. And thank you for coming.
Thank you.